Welcome back to the channel. Mopar Man 1978 here. I'm out here on my day off, and luckily no rain. We got rain all around us. Oh, I would say for over 300 miles away from us up north, and pretty much if not further to the southeast of us. So we got nothing but sun here, and I'm up here since this morning working on. I got the engine finally, the V8 on the engine stand the other night, and I'm not going to mess with this right now, so it's all covered up. And then here was that other engine stand I was telling you about, the one that the guy made from scratch. I got the transmission bolted up to that, and the only thing he didn't do, which was a safety concern to me, was he welded this nut here, and already had a hole through this piece of tubing here that he welded to the neck, but he didn't line this up on this side, and then on the bottom side when you flip it over, rotate it over, and drill a hole all the way through this piece right here. Otherwise, even though you tighten this thing down real tight, it's still pretty thick metal, but there's always a chance that the weight of the engine can just grind across this and flip over on you. So I used the step bit today, drilled out the hole. Now the bolt goes all the way through into this, through this pipe right through here, and I can take this out, flip this transmission upside down where the pan's facing up, and the same thing, put it back in there. But anyway, it's not too bad. I mean, he used some, I want to say 1/2 inch thick iron steel diamond plating, but he didn't bother to grind the diamond plating off the back to make the so the washers are a lot more flat on the surface, and they're easy to move around. Because he did take a plasma cutter or a cutting torch and cut out the grooves to adjust these arms, but other than that, it's doing pretty well. There's the torque converter. But as you can see, I got everything off this transmission that I want to keep, and I'm going to be selling this transmission. If somebody knows, somebody needs a 727 Kevlar bands racing shift kit, I think it's a Transgo racing shift kit, for a small block Mopar. It came off of a 318. I think I decided I'm going to go ahead and keep the B&M flex plate on the 318, and luckily I looked inside the bell housing here, and I don't see anywhere where that flex plate, that B&M flex plate, was rubbing. So definitely wasn't that. But anyway, like I said, coming back to this, not messing with this right now. That way I got transmission, motor out of the way, and oh, and by the way, there's that 1978, it's brand new, 1978 clutch fan from out of a Mercedes-Benz. It's like a 270 or 287 or something like that. Fits perfectly on the slant sixes. And but anyway, as you can see, I've been out here preparing the Dart the rest up until now, until I decided to do this video. I got this motor mounting nut loose, but it's still on there, and then I got to do the one on the underside, and I just put jack stands underneath here so I could raise the front of the car up to get to the cross member under the back. Since I have help from the very tall tires and super stock leaf springs already, it's on the 8 3/4 rear end. Anyway, so then, like I said, I put 1/2 inch OSB board down and back underneath the vehicle, so I can, if I need to, I can get up underneath there and not be in the dirt and the rocks and the weeds and stuff. And then I got these scrap pieces of 1/2-inch plywood to lay on if I need to out across here. But and I got some shade on the side of the canopy, which is helping. And then I'm not running it right now, so you can actually hear what I'm saying over this fan. But this is keeping the bugs off tools. And then I bring the cherry picker back in to lift the slant 6 and transmission up out of this car. And then I went ahead and I got this really high, really bright LED work light. I just hung it from the rafter there, and that helps, especially out here at night. And then also for safety concerns, just in case, never just rely on the jack stands themselves. I put a third roll around shop jack underneath the the K-frame. Just enough pressure to keep it there in case the jacks was to be faulty or something was to happen. But anyway, maybe overkill, but safety first. You definitely don't want to be under a vehicle if the jacks collapse on you. I could probably squeeze out of there because the tires are still on, but you can also take an old steel rim with a tire that's still aired up and set it up underneath one of the frame, cross member or something, if it was to come down. That would help you. There's been guys that's been screaming for hours caught underneath vehicles that can't get out, and they have to wait for somebody to hear them or show up or whatever, or some of them just get crushed and they find them like that. So always make sure you're watching out for yourself out there when you're working on these vehicles. But and of course I got the rear tires blocked. And but anyway, there's that. That's the radiator that came out of the Dart. That's for like an 85 Dodge Dakota with a 6-cylinder or V6 or some little 3-cylinder or something like that, but it works for this slant 6. It kept it plenty cool during the summertime, and yeah, I've got videos on how I went about putting that in my Dart in my video catalog way back, if you want to go check back in the archives. But finally waited almost a week and a half for this stinking thing to show up. This, according to the guy I got this off of, I got very lucky. My prayers got answered. This is, I can't remember if he just had this laying around or if this was the same guy that had that bought out the old Chrysler dealership, and it had a lot of leftover stuff that it hadn't been opened up for years. And this happened to have a slant 6 NOS slant 6 truck pan. As you can see, it's very skinny along the front, and then it drops down in the back, and the sump has to go all the way up here and then twizzle down to here. They still sell the pickup tube on Rock Auto for like 30-some bucks plus whatever shipping. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this out of here and I'll show you. Okay, so to prove this is NOS part. There's the Detroit, Michigan Parts Depot Chrysler Corporation, Sherwood, Warren, Beacon Sales Service, Lansing Road, Charlotte, Michigan. It says UPAN or something like that. 10 of 15 of 1987. But before I sand that off of there or whatever, I'll make sure I archive that with photos. And then the only thing that they did different with the truck pans is the dipstick tube has to come out the side of the pan. So what I got to do is I got to go back to the salvage yard, take a pin and pad and tape measure, and if the pan is still out there with the other truck that I tried to first buy, that they said I couldn't purchase the oil pan, I will take the measurement of the dipstick, how far it comes out, and then and the measurement of the actual dipstick itself, and then we'll go from there. If I have to, I'll use an aftermarket chrome dipstick tube and come out the side after I weld it up. And of course, it's got a, as you can see on the inside, it's riveted here, and then the dipstick, or the the dipstick itself comes down here, and I guess I don't know how far it's supposed to go down in here. Probably just maybe inch and a half, if that. I don't know, or maybe it just comes out the very tip here. That way you can you don't overfill the pan. But anyway, oh yeah, and here's some part number from the parts department tag too. And then I guess this is to keep the pickup tube in the location it's supposed to be in, but I'll make sure that's all done. But it's got the same, it uses the same gaskets, everything as the cars do. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my slant 6 pans off of the other vehicle, or the other motors, and I'm going to compare this to see how much of a difference that needs to be. And I might modify a couple old pans if I find some more at some salvage yards that nobody's using. Like some really old salvage yards that maybe the engine's been sitting out for years, but it's don't have water in the pan or anything. I'll maybe make a few pans, maybe to turn around and sell them because these things are hard to find unless you've got a slant 6 that came out of a truck out of the salvage yard, or you have one saved from back in the day out of the Dodge truck. But anyway, as you can see here, I've got backyard bug controlled outdoor fogger for this evening. I've got all the paints here. I got the engine primer, the engine paints. I'm going to go with the Chrysler blue, the dark blue. Oh, well, medium. I should say medium blue. It's not the turquoise. They don't ever have midnight color. But anyway, the epoxy paint, gloss black, is going to be for like the motor mount brackets and other motor brackets and stuff once I get them all cleaned up. But yeah, that's just some odds and ends. I got these. I figured I might need these for the other engine stand when I put the slant 6 on it, because I am going to, back before when I put this engine in the Dart to try to get the Dart ready to go to drive, I didn't make the modification to the timing cover to put the the adjustable bump stop for the cam in there. I don't think I did the grinding out of the 2 ports on each side where the oil pump bolts up to the block. That needs to have those sharp edges smoothed out. And then the other thing needs to be done, since I'll be taking this oil pan off anyway to put the truck pan on, and all the oil and everything's going to be off, and the head is going to be off. I got to put the oil restrictor plug on this back corner here on top of the engine, and in order to do that I have to have the head off. And then while it's off, I'm also going to do that, drill that oil hole. You have to come from the bottom and lay the drill bit. You have to get about a foot long drill bit, lay it up next to one of the cylinders at an angle, and drill down in, come in at an angle about halfway. And then on the top here between the 2 lifters, I've got the book on how to rebuild in hot rods small block or not small block, slant 6 motors. And in between there, you drill a hole straight down to connect to that hole you just drilled. And then at the top of the hole, you can either use a step bit, or not a step bit, a countersink bit, or I just use a bigger drill bit and I just barely drill into it, so it makes like a funnel. And what it does is it runs down, fills with oil, runs down, and drips onto the oil pump eccentric on the cam and on the arm of the oil pump, or the fuel pump itself. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, that's a little trick you can do. And then it was brought to my attention that the number 6 cylinder always stays the hottest out of all the other cylinders. So I'll have to check to see if that little plug down there goes to the water jacket in the block, or it's part of the oiling system, because Shane from Slant Daily Garage says to run a heater tube coming off of a threaded insert port, and then have it come up. You can run it however you want to run it to hide it, and then you bring it back up and you run it into the either right here or the water neck itself, or you can, when you run the hose over and down, you can put a splice in a junction tube with the threaded insert or threaded port that you can run the hose. But anyway, a guy that I know, Jack, he said that was thinking about either running this a threaded plug to run a hose off of the back of the head or off the back of the block, just in front of the number 6 cylinder there that's facing the firewall, and then run it up and run it into the cooled down coolant coming from the radiator back into the block or whatever. I'll try to make it simple as possible. And then the other thing, that would be more for like the summertime, because during the wintertime you want the block to stay as warm as possible. But and then I think I'm going to use this one right here. I'm going to knock out this freeze plug, and I'm going to put one of those electric heating elements in that you plug in overnight during the wintertime when you got to get going in the morning. That way it'll keep the coolant, the heat displaced throughout the block. The heat will go up and then it'll just disperse out. That'll help quite a bit. Yeah, and like I said, the engine's getting painted blue. Still, you're going to be using the chrome valve cover, and then I'm running the Super 6 factory aluminum 2-barrel carbon intake on here, and then all the kickdown linkage and all that stuff. And that's why I saved all the kickdown linkage and everything off of the transmission to switch and all the stuff off the truck that goes to the shifter on the column. So yeah, anyway, and then the only other thing I got to do is, the truck's right back there. I got to bring it up. I got to go this evening, and I bought a bunch of stuff to scrub and degrease the firewall, the fender wells, the frame, everything, the top of the steering box, the whole 9 yards. And then I got some other odds and ends of stuff like the power steering pump and brackets that's got to go on the Slant 6. And luckily this one's got the power steering pump bracket bolts right to here. I got to clean these holes out and clean the threads up. And then I think there might have been another partial bracket that bolts to something here or whatever. This water pump's going to be replaced. I think I've already replaced that. I can't remember. It's been a while. I'm going to replace it just to be on the safe side. It's been sitting for quite a while. But that's a brand new harmonic balancer down there, a good quality one. That was almost $200 when I bought it. And then I've got the pulley off of a slant 6 that came off of a vehicle down there. It's got, it looks, I'll probably just have to pull this one. I want to put a new front seal in this timing cover anyway. And it's got, this thing's got a brand new Cloyts double roller timing chain in it, so I don't have to mess with that. And then I think that pulley slash harmonic bouncer back there, whatever it is, I think that double pulley can go on the front of here, and then I'll have the double pulley for the actual power steering pump. And then this is the Points distributor that was rebuilt by Joe's Distributor Restoration. So this is Points distributor, A-cell super stock coil for Points, the chrome canister, and then I put the Pabst Blue Ribbon can around it to dress it up. This is all going for the rat rod, because I have 2 electronic distributors. I've got one, matter of fact, I got it back here in this bucket. I think this is the better of the, might be the better of 2, but I've got two backup electronic distributors. This one came with dual pickups on it. I've never seen that before for especially for electronic ignition. The other from out of an '87 Dodge pickup, and then the rat rod slant 6 back there has, it's an '80s model block, and it's got the electronic ignition too. And from my understanding, it only had 30-some thousand miles on that engine. And my buddy Jim said he saw it running, and so it must have or I'll have to check out that distributor as well. It will need a vacuum advance, so I'll see if they work, and if not, I'll get a pickup one from I almost quit messing with the Rileys anymore on that type of stuff, so I'll get one from off of Distributor Joe or wherever. But anyway, no, I did a lot of rambling, but as you can see, I'm getting stuff done. I mean, I could set a tripod up here. They got them at Rise. I think I goofed up and I said in the last video that I had one, but I bought another stick to put my phone on, so I can hold the without holding it like I'm doing now. I can just put it on that selfie stick. And but I looked in the same company at Walmart that makes those sticks also has a tripod for smartphones too. And at some point I might do that, but for now, at least you're seeing that I'm doing some work. And I was probably sick, not yesterday, but the past couple days before that I was sick with some type of bacterial infection. Somehow I got that. I don't know if I got it through a cut working out here or at work, or handled something that had stuff on it. I'm usually pretty good about washing my hands and using hand sanitizer at work, but you never know. Maybe I had something under my fingernail, and once in a while I catch myself wanting to try to chew on my nail once in a while. But so yeah, anyway, it developed into also a bladder infection, severe bladder infection. So they've been having me on this Bacterium or whatever pill, big horse pills twice a day. I just got to where I'm not achy, and I thought I had COVID, so they gave me a COVID test too. No COVID, no RSV or whatever virus. But yeah, super sore, super achy. Like I said, thought I had COVID, but I didn't. So back out here trying to get back in shape and stuff. That's what I've been doing. So anyway, I had several days to rest up. Took 2 paid sick days off, and then the third day was a day off that I already had. But anyway, other than that, there's not really much else to report on. Oh, well, sorry. today's Monday, so we're planning Saturday. Hopefully, I don't think there's going to be any rain, which I guess it really wouldn't matter. Well, it kind of does, kind of doesn't. We're supposed to be going up to Jim and I's buddy Jack's place, and the guy that's going to be working with me on getting the body parts I need to make the 30, 31, 30, almost 32, something like that, Rat Rod Roadster body that I got to put together. He's already got 2 quarter panels for me, and then he's got the cowl, which is the whole front nose piece of the body, and then he's got all the other pieces too. So we got to go up Saturday, meet up with Jack, see what he's come up with, and then figure out if we're going to be bringing the frame up to him and having him cut that frame and do what they need to do to it to help lower the stance in the back so it's not up so high in the back, so that and then have it shortened so the Roadster body will fit on that frame. It's a little too long from my understanding, but anyway, some of you already knew about this stuff, some of you don't. Anyway, rambled on long enough, and stay tuned. Like I said, schedule permitting, weather permitting, all the above. Till next time.